High Guardian Spice is a Crunchyroll original finally released on November 27, 2021, after 2 to 3 years of being the television equivalent to vaporware, a show that presents itself as a magical girl Western animation show set in a fantasy land of magic, sword, and magic. But when you actually watch it, you find out that it was marketed for children, but made for no one but themselves. The program was originally conceived by Ray Rodriguez and was pitched to various cartoon studios such as Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, and was rejected every time. It was later made into a webcomic and was finally pitched to Crunchyroll and was made to be a Crunchyroll original. In 2018, their first trailer was launched for the program on Crunchyroll that did not promote it or sold people the characters, the setting, or the story. But they'd rather talk about how diverse the show is, how the production of the show was diverse. 50% of the team was told to us that 50% of the production team consists of women and people from the LGBTQ community, and how all the writing team was women. And one of the people working for the show was Kate Leff, a woman who has the hashtag #AndAllMen, with tweets espousing misandry, and if you post the image on to Crunchyroll on their Twitter site, on their Twitter page, to any response about High Guardian Spice, you'll be blocked almost immediately. A policy the company still maintains to this day. And the trailer was trashed by the viewers and ratioed on YouTube. The video itself has no comments whatsoever. The comments have been disabled, and the likes and retweets have been disabled for just simply liking retweets. The trailer has been disliked as a whole, but you can never see how much likes and dislikes the trailer has. And this story a trope that if a show or movie's first trailer or promotional material is about diversity and inclusion, or if any trailer does not promote the show itself or the actual program, it's an indicator that the program contains fake diversity, and ultimately, it's trash. Crunchyroll, instead of doing another trailer to sell the show as a way of damage control, they turned the show into vaporware, and we barely heard anything on it for 2 years until February 2020. And then on 2021, during the glorified live stream of the Crunchyroll Expo in 2021, since the in-person convention was cancelled due to Tyrant Newsom's derangement, it was released on late 2021, which is October 27th, 2021. And there was barely any promotion about what the show is about. Matter of fact, you can read this list of notes from the 2019 Crunchyroll Expo. Was it 20? Yeah, Crunchyroll Expo 2019. You can read the list of notes from Crunchyroll Expo 2019. You can find out more about the show from this list, from these notes, than from the promotional material that was shown to the public. Now the show is finally released, as predicted. The viewers crapped on it because they remembered the initial marketing material of how bad the trailer was. Because first impressions is important, and it's abundantly clear that Crunchyroll has ignored this. And since the first impression is not doing a quality show, but one based on fake diversity and virtue signaling, and they literally blew on the diversity part, because the fantasy setting was the perfect one, was the perfect setting to show diversity of all beings. And the worst thing is that the elf, one of the main characters of the show, and the quartet, of Guardians and High Guardian Spice, the elf has been race swapped from the original webcomic. And due to this alone, and for other reasons, I cannot in good conscience give a proper review. I'm not going to get a proper review. Matter of fact, it's another non-review. I'm just going to go this just straight from my opinion. Now I did watch the first two episodes, which should have been combined into 1 hour-long episode, and a series of clips basically summarizing the show on a Twitter thread, which I'm not going to link, since I'm not going to link you to it, because I want the lawyers from Crunchyroll to actually work for that. Now the first thing you will see is this warning screen. If the show is made for children and marketed for anime fans, why we have this warning screen? It raises the question, who is it for? Children? Or for people in the cities in Portland and Seattle? The first episode is supposed to introduce you to the characters, the theme, the story, setting, and introduce you to the music, which sets the tone of the series. Nothing popped that made it stand out. Not even the music. We have 2 girls going to an academy known as High Guardian Academy in a big fantasy setting city called Legoth. We have generic music, and the music doesn't pop up for me. Now the show has a great theme that could have been expanded, old magic and new magic, which is shown in the first and second episodes, but they barely touch upon it. How does old magic work? How does new magic work? Later in the show, through the clips, we see that the new magic is creating rot. What is this rot? How does it work? How is this new magic creating this rot? Instead, we have low stakes battles, low stakes scenes in each episode that doesn't give you a proper world building. Because the world building is crap in this program. It's definitely not an anime, but more of a cartoon. I'm just going to probably call it a program. In later clips I saw, the violence depicted in the film is more cartoony, and it does have blood, some bloody scenes, but it's brief and minor. There's the use of mild, coarse language, but the biggest theme that is the emphasis of the show is not on the fantasy setting, it's not on the conflict between old and new magic. It's not about the actual building up of the program, of the main antagonists of the show, which I'm going to get to in a minute. The main emphasis of the show is shipping and sexual and gender minorities. Sexuality, relationshipping, and gender issues. One major case is episode 3, transformations. If they were insisting on reflecting the modern world onto a fantasy setting, they could just use magical allegories in this fantasy setting. With the professor in the scene with the main character, we could have been told that the professor used magic to turn herself into a man, and be simply told why. And viewers could have connected the dots. And since it's a magic setting, it will make sense. We didn't have to be told that he's transgender, or how they achieved this transformation. We could have been told that he used magic to change her appearance to a man, and we could have told a simple reason why. he made part, and the main reason is clothes. We could have been told that he used magic to change his appearance from a woman to a man, and we could have been told that he preferred clothing of a man, because a male clothing would have felt better on him, and we could connect the dots here and there. Since it's magic, it's a magical setting. We're in a fantasy magical setting. The program is in a fantasy magical setting. But she gave us an explanation of how she did it. And this is one of many examples the show breaks the show not tell rule. There are many other issues as well. The dialogue is stouted and awkward. It's really not how people talk. The character design is awful, especially the dynamic teacher, which was originally designed to be more attractive, but apparently the final part is basically shows her to be a basic dynamic woman. The humor is god awful. There are 4 random expedition dumps with no context. And the pluses of the show is few. The best acting character of the show is not the protagonist, but the film Sephiroth. No, not that Sephiroth. Now Sephiroth has good acting. The actor who represents Sephiroth is really good at acting his evilness and is fully intent on destroying the Academy and killing the Guardians. Everything else is just trash. Even the animation quality fluctuates per scene and per episode. Even Ruby, which is made by the great Monty-Oum, the late great Monty-Oum, Ruby has better action sequences than the show, than High Guardian Spice. But again, I just seen the first 2 episodes and a series of clips that summarize the show on a Twitter thread. I'm not bothering watching the show because it's trash and it's garbage. Crunchyroll has spent so much sub money on this program, which is, in my opinion, a tax dodge, since they shelved it for 2 or 3 years instead of airing it on time once it was completed. They spent so much sub money on this trash, on this shit, instead of licensing better anime. And the show is not even animated in Japan, but rather animated in South Korea. So this is really a Western animation. And ultimately it is a cheap knockoff of Little Witch Academia, which is a better show, a much better show, which you should watch if you haven't. And it's far superior show than High Guardian Spice. I will not expect a second season because this show has been dumped due to contractual obligations from the fact that Crunchyroll has been sold to Foundation Sony. This means you will not see any tie-in merch or merchandise based on the show, and I do not expect anyone cosplaying any characters from the show. But I do like some of the costumes. Actually, one of the costumes. The person who was transgender. He has a nice suit. But, except for the few positive sides here and there, this show is a failure. And in my opinion, it's ultimately a tax dodge. A way to write off any taxes of the show, since they knew the show is trash. I'm not going to bother giving this anime a rating. or age rating because of false advertising, lack of production quality, and fake diversity for ultimately, in my opinion, a tax write-off. This is JK from the Ministry of Otaku speaking. Thanks for watching this Nun review.